Alright, the last video that I posted was we talked about the tap tuning braces, but I think before that we talked about, I ended by telling you that I was going to showing you how to mark out where the braces are going to be let into the kerf lining, and we tuned the braces. And one thing that occurred to me, I got a question from somebody on the forum, and they asked me about or mentioned that they like to, rather than have the top be one complete. Every time I start a video, that phone rings. Have the top be a complete radius. They asked that that I always where the fingerboard extension comes over the body. I do that brace that runs on the top. Their X comes in right here and here, and then there's, I don't know what they call that brace, but that brace right there, I actually flatten that brace out. It does not have the 28-foot radius on it. It's actually basically flat, and then I will take a long sanding block and sand this more flat, so that it gives me a better neck angle for the fingerboard extension, and it's just something, you know. But that's something I neglected to say. Also, in the past, before my first few guitars that I built, before I had before I had had the dishes with the sandpaper on them, I should have showed you all this. A 28-foot top radius. Actually, that angle that it comes into the side is a 1.5 degree angle. If you look at this, that's a 1.5 degree angle from there. From here it tapers, and the back is a 5.5 degree angle. That's a 15 foot radius. So you can make you one of these if you don't have the dish. And for sanding the backs, you find a way to secure it. And for the back, I have this marked, and that's for the backs, and that's for the top. And you can just take this and resting this angle, and you just go along here, and that causes this sandpaper here to to come in at a 5 degree angle. Okay, and you just go all the way around, and that's one way of sanding if you don't have the dishes. That's a method of doing that. I want to talk to you about we're getting ready to start joining the back and the top to the rim, and there are several methods of doing that. I'm going to show you my method because this is what I use, but you know, in the past I have used spool clamps. All these methods have their advantages. I have one friend who he's taken his form and gone around the outside edge right here and drilled holes, and he will put his body in that, and then put the spool clamps in there so that this holds its shape, and then he can actually use the spool clamps to join the back and the top, which I like that idea because you know you got your body in a form, or your rim in the form holding its shape. You know, everything's square, and that's a pretty good idea. I've just never done that because I like what I do here. we talked about yesterday about how I would center up the back where it would go on, and then from the inside mark, and then go on here and mark how deep they protrude. I've cut the braces off to protrude only so deep into the lining, and this thing is ready to go together. I give the lining one good final sanding, because right now with no back on it, it's easy to sand. But once you line everything up where it's supposed to go, that thing, as you can see, I don't know if you can see, the braces are all they snap in where they go. What is it that I was wanting to tell you? My mind's not working right this morning. Oh, the way that once I mark these from the inside, then I would take a straight edge and I would join the marks, boom, boom, and then mark the thickness of the braces. And of course, I make each one of these a uniform thickness so that I can just go around the inside of my lining and go, whoop, you know, like this with a pencil, and mark the depth. And I go where they actually go into where the braces actually go into the lining. They are 6/32, whatever that's 3/16. 3/16 deep, in 3/16 thick, where they go into the lining. And the way that I do those is I take a little Dremel with a grinder, and I basically leaving the line, and then I finish it up with a good sharp carving knife, just being real careful and keeping everything nice and square so that you know, try to eliminate any kind of air pockets or anything. So now what I'm going to show you is how I join these, put the back, put that piece of 1/2 inch underneath there to just kind of make this a little bit more level. Now, of course, I will, you know, making sure that everything is centered, but once these braces, like I say, the braces are cut so that they will, you got to reach in here, make sure that there it goes down. Anyway, the ends of the braces will actually center this up. You can see that that just snapped down, and everything will just kind of snap together. This one end right here, I'll have to reach inside, but here's what I do. What did I do with it? This is a 3/8 inch elastic cord, and once I put glue on everything, I will just start like this and just tie this thing down, and you would be amazed how much force that this will generate. That is why I trim that edge so closely, because if it's not trimmed closely, it'll snap off, and it never snaps off right at the profile. It always snaps off back into the body of the guitar, and then you got a crack that you got to deal with. Or so, you know, it's one of those things that you live and learn. You make mistakes and you learn from it. But this is how I will do this. Now, once I get this all tied down, like then I will look on the inside and make sure that see that back splice is not down. It's not inside the tail block. making sure that all the braces are in. And then once it's all tied in, I can go inside from this hole right here and clean everything, and make sure everything's, make sure everything's good and clean. Now once you got the back on, you can't do that with the top, so you got to be real careful about how much glue you use. But that is how I join the back, and that's what I'm getting ready to do here in just a minute. So that's a wrap.